or they try to.
Welcome to the Pittsburgh Business Version, where we interview successful business owners to educate the virgin segment of the population who are thinking about starting their own businesses. I'm your host, Brad Hilbert, president of Three Rivers Wealth Management Group. All right, we're back for the second segment with Dr. Darren Brash of Brash Chiropractic. In this segment, we're going to be talking about some of the challenges that he saw developing his practice to what it is today, a very successful practice, but also some advice for our business virgins as far as what challenges he saw, what they can expect, and how to overcome.
Now Darren, you've been around the business for 12 plus years. Let's rewind a little bit. Do you think that you would have the ability to go out on your own from that day that you graduated school, or do you think that it was the better path that you chose to take was starting under somebody and then eventually branching out on your own?
Oh, definitely the path that I took, starting, getting the time, getting the experience, and then waiting for that time to branch out on my own.
Why do you feel that way?
Well, I think when you first come out of school, you have no idea really. Your skills as a chiropractor aren't even really fine-tuned. I think you need experience doing that. And in order to create a strong patient base, you need to be able to fine-tune those skills. You need to be able to get results. You need to be a good chiropractor first. Secondly, you need to get some business experience and understand, what it takes to be able to run a business, which they don't really give you that in school.
Right.
Unfortunately.
It's almost like it's a second degree that you pick up on your own.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in essence like the almost like a union craftsman. You still got to do your apprenticeship.
Right. Absolutely.
You got to work under someone so that they can watch you. And we used to talk about in my former management leadership career, we used to always talk about DOC, demonstrate, observe, and confirm. So I one of the things when I was always working with a newer advisor, I would always make sure I demonstrated how to do something, then observe them to doing it, and then confirming that they're doing it right. Right. I think to your point, that's twofold. One, being a good chiropractor, being good at your skill set, but number two, also from the standpoint of running a business.
Exactly.
I mean, if I try to go out on my own at 22, 23 when I I wouldn't be here today.
Which was just 3 years ago.
It was just 3 years ago. The gray hair is due to children and selection of spouse who's in the room, and I'll pay for that later. Actually, the question I had for you was, what do you think are some of the essential qualities? And this is kind of the almost like a brown nose question. So I apologize for it sounding like a brown nose. But what essential qualities do you have that have allowed you to be so successful in building this practice?
Well, I think the first thing is just an extreme work ethic. I think anybody who's going to open their own business would tell you that to do that successfully, you have to be willing to give up vacations. You have to be willing to work 10, 12-hour days, and you got to be willing to consistently do that. You also have to be willing to learn, too. No matter what you think you may know, every day is a learning process, and I think you improve by listening to your patients or your customers and trying to improve on that and staying consistent with the things that work best.
I think I'm a good listener at work. Evidently, I'm not as good of a listener at home as the feedback that I've gotten. I don't know about yourself, but so when I hear you saying that, so hard work ethic, open-minded. So I think one of the dangerous qualities that entrepreneurs have is that a lot of them are ego-driven and some what we would refer to as driver personalities. And sometimes that can actually fire back on you a little bit, because if you're not open-minded and listening, trying not to always be right.
Exactly. I think that, and once in a while it's probably not a bad idea to put surveys out and ask some of your patients, or if it's another business, your
Yep.
customers, what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong, and what do you want to see us do in the future? That's something I haven't implemented yet, but that's something that I'm considering doing, and because I want to know.
It's on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Darren, you've been out on your own a little over a year now, pushing 2 actually, and then you had your startup time prior to that to get the place set up, get the equipment in. What have you learned, or what occurred that you didn't expect to happen in that transition period and in through your, we'll call it, year and a half, 2 years?
Well, I think when you're transitioning into a business, you have to have the money to do it, as I had mentioned earlier. But you might need a little more money than you realize, because things take longer to develop than what you think. You plan things on paper. General contractors, they always seem to take a lot longer than what you think it's going to take. Things go wrong. So the initial build-up, I had problems finding lead drywall for the x-ray room, something that you wouldn't think would be an issue, but I had a problem finding it, and that held me up about 2 weeks. And so,
Isn't that what they produce in China, coming out the lead
well,
in the drywall?
maybe that's what it was, but I think it was in the middle of the winter time too.
Just buy some paint from a Chinese paint store, and you, you don't have to worry about
a lot of
rolling
pencils
on.
in the wall, and let it that way, write with pencil over top. But so stupid things like that appear to be dumb and trivial, but those are realistic things that can really tie up the process. And if you can't open the doors for business, it's hard to pay the bills.
Awesome. Now that we've offended our Chinese audience, great segment. Some of the keys, I think, from the segment are be open-minded. Yes, most entrepreneurs are driver personalities and sort of are very directive with their approach, but it doesn't mean you can forget to stick your head up and ask some questions and stay open-minded and listen to your patients, to people around you. It also sounds like you really got to bust your butt.
Yeah,
you got to work your ass off
Right.
to be successful as a business owner. So
Right.
if you're comfortable with that 9 to 5, chances are you're better off working for somebody.
Exactly.
You really are. Awesome segment. Learned a lot. Thank you so much. Once again, as we close out this segment, please tune in to the next few segments with Dr. Darren Brash. You can talk to the folks over at Brash Chiropractic at 724-443-4488. Once again, they have massage, PT, physical therapy, as well as chiropractic services. And this guy knows his stuff. So give him a call. Check him out. You can also look him up on Google. Dr. Darren Brash, BARASH. Thank you very much.
You might want to start there. BRASH. Letters sometimes get
BR. Thank you so much. We'll see you next segment.
Thanks.
Wishing you could borrow some money from China? Reality is, you are your only bailout option. Get the plan to make it happen. Three Rivers Wealth Management Group. In Pittsburgh for Pittsburghers. TRWMG.com. That's TRWMG.com.